Hi, y'all. Thanks for coming by today. I made a video about friendship this last week, and I got some interesting comments on it that that kind of spurred me on to make this second video. I think friendship is kind of a lost art in our society today, and if you're a Gen Xer or above, you know that before social media, things were a lot different, right? Boy, were they. So I just wanted to comment on a few ways that you can go about making friends, that you can look for friends, because I don't think it's as easy as it is for, kids in school. As a teacher, I can tell, kids in school make friends real easily. If you go to college right after high school, perhaps, if you're on the traditional path of college, then maybe it's, easier to make friends there. But sometimes I think that there are things that get in people's way that we don't really realize. The first thing that I would say is look around you. There are people around you right now who don't have many friends and who want friends. So if you are one of those people, I can promise you nobody's going to come knocking on your door. That's a saying that my mom always used to tell me. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and give you, fill in the blank. A job, a boyfriend, whatever it is. Nobody's knocking on your door. You have to go out and find it, make it, do it. So it's the same thing for friends. If you want more friends, you are going to have to go out and find them. Where do you find them? In a variety of places. One of the places is to volunteer. If you have extra time in your schedule, go somewhere that matches your values. If you love dogs, go to the Humane Society. If you really are passionate about feeding people, go to the food bank. You will meet people who have the same shift that you do. And you'll be doing good for your community at the same time. So if this is something that appeals to you, it's a way that you can make connections with other people. Another thing, reach out to people that you were friends with years ago. So here's an interesting story. I had a best friend who lived in the house behind me across the alley. For those of you that live in houses that have alleys behind them, you know that setup. And I grew up in Dallas, and that's what our setup was like. And this girl, well, now she's a woman, she's my age, actually she's a little older than me. She and her little brother lived across the alley from us, and I remembered her. She moved away when I was in first grade. So that was more than 50 years ago. But here's the good side of social media, and that is that I was able to find her. I actually was able to find her through Ancestry, believe it or not, because I remembered her dad's name and I remembered her mom's name. And so I just looked for trees with those names in there. And I found her. And so she and I connected last weekend. We had a wonderful conversation on the phone, and we're gonna start talking more. So there is a new friend in my life, a new old friend. And it's gonna be lovely to be able to reconnect with her, find out what her life is like. Maybe we'll even get to see each other. She still lives outside of Dallas, and I don't. I live in Colorado, but we do go to Texas sometimes. Another thing, reaching out to people that you've known before. During the pandemic, some of my high school friends reached out to me, and we started meeting online. One lives in California, one lives in Texas, and I live here. And we started having happy hours together. So we don't do them as often as we did during the pandemic, but we still do get together, and we are planning to get together for our girls' trip, which I think is fabulous. On the college front, I have college people that I hadn't talked to in a while, and we kind of reconnected as well. So there are people in your past that miss you and wonder about you and want to know how you're doing. So reach out to them. Look on Facebook, look on Ancestry, look wherever you can to try to find people. It's much easier to find people today than it ever has been. And it's wonderful to be able to connect with these people because you know that you had things in common. Okay, the next one is become the host. And I will admit right now that I am one of those people who never wants to invite people over when the house is a mess. And my house is a mess a lot because we have 2 dogs. But whenever we do invite people over, it spurs us on to get the house in order, which is a wonderful thing. And I have recently made the indulgence of having housekeepers come in twice a month, which is, I can't tell you how psychologically, not only physically, but psychologically healthy I feel having them come in. Their level of clean is way above my level of clean. I have to admit, I haven't cleaned baseboards in years. Or ceiling fans. And they did both. So that's beside the point. The housekeepers are beside the point. What I used to tell people when I would invite them over is it's scruffy hospitality. And I got that phrase from a friend that I met through my husband's work. And she and her husband lived in a 100-year-old home. And she used to make soup like once a month. She would make a huge pot of soup and she'd invite people over and we would sit outside, usually on their patio or in their backyard, and enjoy the soup and conversation, and everybody brought something to drink. And so it wasn't, overly expensive for them, but they did host us, which was fabulous. And so I am in the process, which is another video, of redoing our backyard. I have put together some of those filing cabinet raised beds, and next spring I'll be planting in them. We have a fire pit area. And the grass, the grass. I don't know what to do about the grass. If you have tips about the grass, please leave them in the comments, especially for Colorado. We have a small yard and 2 dogs, and it just gets ripped. It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. You know what? If people love you, they'll come anyway. If people are worried about our grass, they don't need to come. I finally reached the point in life where I understand that relationships are more important. Okay, let me look at my notes here because I took a few. Oh, here's another one. And I just thought of this one the other day because my husband and I were in a small, didn't mean to hit the camera there. My husband and I were in a cafe in a very small town in Colorado. And look for that. I'm going to be starting another YouTube channel on that subject. And we were sitting there and I was impressed with how few people were actually on their phones compared to the city where we live, where if you go out, you see lots of people on their phones. So this is where the small town ethos comes in. And we actually started a conversation with the men sitting at the table next to us, which I thought was wonderful. Maybe if you live in a huge city like, I don't know, London or New York City, that's not the thing you do. It's not culturally appropriate. But I would say if you go places and you were having shared experiences with people, you can strike up a conversation with them. You can at least be friendly. You never know what is going to happen. I have heard stories of people getting married after talking in the grocery store for, about the meat they were choosing, or no, that was a bad, that was a bad reference. Oh, I'm sorry about that. When they were talking about some product that they were both standing in front of. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, oh, Puppy Dog wants to be in the frame. There's Casper. Say hi, Casper. Hi, sweetie. Oh, thanks for the kiss. Okay, so I know that it's not common to make friends at the grocery store, but you never know. You really never know. And finally, this last tip kind of came to me because I have a lot of friends that are older than I am. I think it's probably, at first I was going to say because my sister's older than I am and I hang out with some of her friends, but I have other friends who are older that don't have anything to do with my sister. So I don't know what it is, but I think look outside your age group. You know, the only time that we are mostly friends with people of our same age is when we're in school. And it doesn't have to be that way. I have always been friends with people who are in different age ranges than I am. And I think it really brings something to your life. So those are my tips for making friends. I hope they've helped at least a little.